Hey guys, and welcome to the final episode of the podcast before I head off onto a 12-day safari. Looking forward to this one. The Parkmans have joined us yet again from last season. They've joined us this season. Looking forward to this one. We'll be heading out into the Craddock region for a couple of days. Super excited. It is the final one of me taking clients out through our safari business. I have still got a couple of personal hunts lined up for the rest of the year. But with that being said, I just want to take this quick opportunity to thank everyone that has contributed to Zwai's incredible story. If you haven't yet figured out what Zwai's story is all about, head along to any of our social media platforms, PH Journals or Wayndale Safaris, African Brother Safaris. There's some incredible footage there about Zwei. Go along, follow his story. We have got so much to dissect, and I'll be doing that on this upcoming safari. Wayne's joining me as another PH, another helping hand on site, and I'm looking forward to this one. So I realized I haven't done this in a very long time, and reviewing my gear bag for this up and coming safari. But I can talk about my gear that I've accumulated over the years for so long. So I've highlighted a couple of very important items that I think every hunter coming out to South Africa and every professional hunter should have in their gear bag. Just my opinion, just what I've accumulated over the years, and very fortunate enough to be able to share this with you guys. So this week's episode of the podcast, it's all about gear. Hey guys, and welcome back. I think this is episode 87. The solo podcasts are starting to get a lot more fun the more topics I have decided to choose. And I haven't done this one in a while. And since I have done it, my gear bag's kind of changed quite a bit. But those of you that know, gear compared to anywhere else you hunt in the world is completely different. And now, last year when I had the fortunate opportunity to hunt in Cambridge, Maryland, I had to do a bit of research. One of the first places I hit up was a couple of the podcasts that I knew from the Carbon TV network. I listened to some tips and tricks of hunting in the swampy areas of Maryland, and I gained a lot from that. So I realized that, my gear bag has definitely changed over the years. I've been a professional hunter now for a little over 15 years, and some of the stuff that I've been able to shift aside and some of the stuff I've been carrying and utilizing for as long as I've been a professional hunter, and a lot of it has benefited me in the long run. The reason why I don't touch a lot on gear, and please guys remember, in this podcast I'm not endorsed by anyone. There are one or two endorsements that I have got, and I will mention them as we go along. However, I'm not endorsed as far as equipment is concerned, and it's kind of a good and a bad thing. Endorsement in South Africa is pretty much out of reach as far as professional hunting is concerned, but it also affords me the opportunity to give good and honest opinions on gear. And I think gear is probably the most important aspect in any professional hunter's gear bag, as well as any hunter coming out to South Africa. So what I'm mentioning is purely what I have tried and tested out in the bush over the years, what I've found works for me and what doesn't work for me. It's just my personal opinion. One of the reasons I don't always like talking about gear is because what works for me doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work for you. And that's the important thing we need to highlight. I've been on many safaris where the equipment utilized by the hunter, I haven't been the biggest fan of. But it seems to have worked for those individuals along the way. Some haven't, but some have. And for me, I think it's important to share these experiences as we go along. I'm talking about the different gear. One of them is optics. And I'll talk a little bit about that. And I'll talk a little bit about the misconceptions about certain brands and certain things like that. And one of the reasons why I mention this is because I feel personally that every personal individual has a personal preference to gear that is going to work for you. For instance, me, camouflage, I feel it's a great necessity, but it's not all about how the camo looks. It's more about how it wears and how it fits. I'm a bigger guy, so I enjoy camo that fits me properly, and I have the freedom to do what I want out in the bush. But we'll get into that as we go along. So, without further ado, starting from the bottom up, excuse me guys, I've still got a bit of a chest, a cold in my chest, so every now and then I've got a nasty little cough, so I do apologize about this. I am working on trying to get rid of it before this hunt, because it does hinder me, especially when you start climbing a mountain or two. So anyway guys, one of the first additions, new additions to my gear bag this year has been the gym green boots. I wanna highlight this boot because I haven't said much about it. I got them right at the start of the season, and I haven't said much leading up to this point. The reason why I haven't is because it's been a game changer. And I mean this with respect. Now, I have tried different boots. I've tried, I want to say, the Crintex from the States, a big snow boot, waterproof. I have tried the Mac boots. I have tried Merrells. I have tried Feldskun. The list goes on and on and on. Courtney's. I've had plenty of pairs of Courtney's. Nothing fits and works as well as what I have utilized as far as the gym green is concerned. Now, I have two pairs of gym greens. I've got the African Ranger side, and then I've got the ankle high African Legends, I think they are. Incredible boot. Absolutely stunning. The African Ranger is a barefoot soled boot, which allows me ultimate comfort when I'm walking. I took it on the fellow deer hunt. We've hunted quite a few clients since then, and it's been absolutely amazing. Ankle support has been there. Look, as far as comfort is concerned, it's probably not the most comfortable shoe I've ever worn. The Merrell boot by far takes the cake. However, durability, being able to walk through riverbeds and rivers, being able to soak that shoe in complete mud, brush it off, clean it up, the durability on that shoe is absolutely incredible. And I haven't been treating it with dubbin like I was advised not to. I've been treating it with coconut wool, so the leather really has gotten to a soft textural point, which is stunning. It is it's starting to get a lot more worn in and a lot more comfortable around my foot. However, the sole underfoot is extremely hard. But of course, I think with every modern hunter today, a lot of the scenarios that we've come up with have afforded our feet the opportunity to get weaker and weaker over time. What I've realized is how actually weak my ankles were. Without that harnessed ankle support, I had a lot of play within the shoe. I changed things up. I ordered online, and I think you can get them cheap from Amazon or Walmart. Or I think I actually bought these a couple of pairs from Walmart. Is the grip socks. And the grip socks stopped my foot from moving around in the shoe. Because with the leather sole, there's a lot of movement. There's a lot of slippery movement that goes underfoot, especially when you're climbing here in the Queenstown region. We've got these boulders on our hillsides. So when you're climbing that, every now and then you get one and you slip, and it's not the damage of the movement of your foot against the boulder. It's the foot inside the shoe that actually causes a lot more damage to it. So I managed to keep myself out with sheep feet inner soles, and then these grip socks that have been absolutely a game changer for me. So yeah, it's been something very, very special. I was very fortunate. Jim Green got hold of me right at the start of the season with no obligation. They sent me two pairs. of boots. And I was very skeptical. I've always been very skeptical about Jim Green, Wildebeest, all those sort of brands. But I realized that my veldskoen, I love a veldskoen. The reason why I love a veldskoen is the underfoot feel for me as an archery person was very, very good. The gel soles really helped me feel my way around the bush. However, they got a little bit tired, and unfortunately the manufacturer that manufactures that specific veldskoen is no longer in business, so I couldn't get myself another pair. So I put the Jim Greens on, and I must say, for the first couple of miles on my foot, it was difficult. It took some time to getting used to. It was very uncomfortable. The leather was extremely hard, but it's gotten to that point now where it's worn in very, very nicely. So if you are coming out on safari and you have ordered yourself a pair of Jim Green African Rangers, make sure to break them in before before you just hit the road running. Second up is my Vortex Fury HD 5000, the Rangefinder Binoculars. This changed my life, my perspective on hunting as well. Now, being a traditional professional hunter and learning a lot of the tricks of the trade from older generational professional hunters, range finding for me wasn't a thing. I never owned a rangefinder in my earlier periods of hunting. What happened is that the more and more long distance shooters we accommodated in camp, the more and more important it became as a rangefinder became a necessity. So my first half of my professional hunting career, I never owned a rangefinder. I wasn't even interested in archery. My second part, from about 2017 onwards, I started getting really interested in archery, and a good friend of mine left a bow behind, which I utilized, and I realized how the importance of ranging was as far as archery was concerned. But it was an absolute game changer when I got my Vortex Furies with the rangefinder inside. They are absolutely spectacular. Accurate. I've used the Leicas. I've used the Swarovskis. I ran into an issue with the Swarovskis. The Swarovskis stopped ranging anything closer than 30, I think it was, 30 or 20 yards. So I never had an accurate range on the Swarovskis. The Leicas, I had a massive issue. Number one is I couldn't see the red very clearly inside the binoculars. And they didn't pick up on very fine. So if you were down on your haunches and you ranged across a plain and it picked up any sort of slight movement in the grass, it would range that, or it wouldn't give you a reading at all. Whereas the Vortex Furies, I think what they did is they understood what the bigger picture was, so the bigger dead space being the animal, and they realized, okay, that's what we actually, the intention is to range that. And when you range, it was very, very accurate. So for me, Vortex have done an exceptional job at upgrading, not only the optics side, because it's very, very clear, but also the range finding capabilities. For me, have been some of the best. Now, I have heard that Swarovski has sorted that out. I did try the Sig and Sauers for a couple of hunts, and I must say they were very, very similar to the Furies. So I almost anticipated they kind of came out of the same factory. The fact that they felt the same, kind of looked the same, and handled the way they did, for me was just a no-brainer. But Vortex, as a professional hunter, optics is everything. So to have a great pair of optics with a great rangefinder inside is a win-win for any professional hunter. What I do want to say something quickly about the Vortex program in South Africa is we are struggling as professional hunters to fully utilize the Vortex exchange program. And when I say exchange, I mean the lifetime warranty on it. A lot of stories have come out. I can't speak for this because it's never happened to me. I did have a pair of Vortex. Sorry, just cheapies. And my tracker had. I sent them into Vortex South Africa. I never ever heard from them. I never received a pair. I never got an email. I never got a confirmation. I never got anything. They didn't, it's almost like they just brushed the situation off. And so the program of utilizing the lifetime warranty in South Africa has become very, very tricky. So apparently there's a serial number on each pair of Vortex binos. If it doesn't correlate with you purchasing those sets of binos here in South Africa, they are not going to hold testament to the lifetime warranty. For me, I think that's a little bit bullshit. If you buy any sort of product, no matter where you are in the world, they should honor that warranty claim. That's just what I've heard. I can't confirm. I haven't experienced it myself. Like I said, the only experience I've had with Vortex South Africa is actually nothing. I haven't had any experience with them because they didn't reply to the set of binos I sent in. I actually don't even know where those pair of binos are. So, yeah. Anyway, that's... Yeah. Sorry, the Vortex Furies are 10 by 42s. I think that's an important thing to realize. Yeah, so as far as optics goes, choose a set of optics that is going to work best for you. And for me, being a professional hunter, being a bow hunter, it benefits me a lot having that rangefinder inside my binos. It also just lightens up the gear bag, although I still carry a rangefinder around just in case. There's always that in case moment, so I still carry my rangefinder on my hip. But anyway. Next up, of course, sticking with optics, is my Maven Spotting Scope. Now, the reason why I went Maven is we were at the Great American Outdoor in Pennsylvania. And I went over to the Maven booth, and the guys were incredibly helpful. And when I looked through the Maven Spotting Scope, it gave me that feel of premium quality. It gave me a feel of a Swarovski spotting scope. The way I held it, the way it felt in my hand. And I've been very, very bad. Even with telescopes, I focus extremely bad. I've got a lazy eye. So my focusing on spotting scopes and telescopes and stuff, I struggle a little bit, but I do eventually get it right. With the Maven, I never struggle. Even still to this day, I still don't struggle. And yeah, I never utilized the spotting scope until, like I said, until the long range shooters started coming in. And I realized how important it was going to have to be, because to judge those animals, actually the first time I ever utilized it was with Keith Warren on a blue wildebeest. But the reason why I realized is because if you are judging those animals from that distance, you need to be as accurate as possible. I wanted to see the cracks on that wildebeest boss to make sure that it was a good old wildebeest to take, and it was. So, yeah, spotting scope. Get yourselves a good quality spotting scope. You can't go wrong with that. So, which leaves me to the controversial side of the gear bag. Camouflage. And the reason why I say this is controversial is because for me, I feel this is a very important part. Gear for me is extremely important. Now, I've learned a lot as far as camouflage, gear, and all that sort of stuff work. I personally believe that when you're out in the bush, camouflage is not the biggest issue. It's how your gear fits and works. A lot of people gave me stick about my fellow deer hands because my Kuiu gear is quite tight on me. Now, Kuiu, you always go a size up to what you normally wear. But it is tight on me. And it's tight on me for a reason, because when I'm bow hunting, I want to be able to feel, if I am brushing up against the twig, that I can move it off my shoulder. Now, this sounds ridiculous, but I can't tell you guys how many stalks have been busted from twigs completely not ricocheting, but what's it like, catapulting off my shoulder into the client, and or clients behind you ducking because of twigs flying this way and that way, or hooking in your cap, whatever the case may be. And those sudden movements, especially when you're bow hunting, those sudden movements cause such a disruption in the bush. Even though you might not make a sound, but the sudden movements in between a still dead space bush can send any animal into like curiosity and spook off. So for me, it's not about the camouflage. For me, it's all about how the gear fits. And if the gear fits, works well, you can utilize it. It's easy to maneuver around in. It's good quality, can handle the thick thorn trees, the wachabiki. Wachabiki is the cat claw I think you guys have in the States. Very similar cat claw. And it can handle all these things. Your gear will last you a very, very long time. I've had trees in gear, lasted me years and years and years. Unfortunately, I split from the trees in team. Not any animosity, not because the product's bad. The product is exceptional. It's really good. I just didn't feel that it was the best fit for me at the time. I felt like their greens in their camo were a little bit lighter for our conditions, and hence I don't think they worked extremely well in our conditions. However, the late season side of things I think is exceptional camo. And I personally think that going beyond the ordinary, for instance, I wear, Kuiu sent me like a fishing shirt. It's a white lightweight hoodie, and I put that on the other day, and I stalked into almost 25 yards of an Impala U. I wasn't hunting. We were checking water lines along one of the properties that I manage, and I stalked into 25 yards of it. Yes, the wind was right, everything was perfect, conditions were perfect, but it just shows that camo is riddled in white blotches, white and blue blotches, and it's actually inspired by the moss that grows on the thorn trees here in South Africa. So you tend to get a different feel on how certain camos can actually influence your perception or your movements in the bush, and I think that's a very, very important thing. However, I still think the most important thing is comfort, and because it's long days out there that you're in camo. Dress warm in the winters, light in the summers, and you shouldn't have any problem. So this is a question that gets asked a lot. And what sort of knives am I using? Now, for me, I'm a knife slut, so I love knives. I think my collection's in my bar, but I love knives. So any special knife I get, special hunting knife, I keep it. I don't try and utilize it. However, I must say I've been using a lot of like these cheaper skinning knives, like Dove do one, Buck do one. There's a couple of them out there, and I think that's fine. I mean, you utilize it a couple of times. My tracker skins the shit out of an animal with it, and then sharpens it all the way down till it's complete, till the blade's completely stuffed. However, I have found a game changer, and it's the Havalon set. Now, when we were in Nashville at ACR, I went along to the Havalon booth, and I got myself a couple of really cool interchangeable blades for the handles I've got, skinning and all that sort of stuff. And my tracker praises me for doing that, because now we've got replaceable blades. You can replace them whenever he wants. He's got scalpel sharp blades that he utilizes all the time, and it's just made life so much easier. If he throws the blade away or he throws the handle away, I've always got spares. It has been a game changer. I love that knife. However, Splitting Image have been absolutely incredible as far as sending us a skinning set every single year. And inside that skinning set is all the basic essentials, even a sharpening stone. I use the stone. I don't use those those commercial sharpeners with that you hold in your hand and sharpen your scissors and all that sort of stuff with. I use a stone, and I force my tracker to use a stone as well. That way we hold the blade shape, and the blade is held a lot longer. I'm not a knife connoisseur, but when it comes to knives, it's very, very important for me, because I think it's a part of your gear bag that is very, very essential. Even as a professional hunter, I think we should be walking around, even if it's with a Leatherman on us at all times, because you just never know your situation you're going to be in, and carrying a good quality knife can mean all the difference. So especially when you're out in the bush, when there is a bit of heat, I mean, to gut the animal and all that sort of stuff, it's nothing. So for me, a good knife, cheapies if you have to be, the old copy. I utilized that in the start of my career. There was a good friend of mine, Uncle William Phillips. I learned a lot from him, and he only used an old copy for himself personally. He had one that he would use for hunting and one that he would use to cut his bolt on while he masterminded his plans. But yeah, that was always a special time. Okay, so this hunt coming up, we're using my 270 and my 243 Musgrave. I'm going to talk a little bit about my 270. It's a Sarko 85S. I've had it for as long as I've been a professional hunter, 2009. So what's that? 16 years now. And I absolutely love that rifle. I've kitted it out with the Vortex Razor HD scope. It's dialed in. I'm shooting Hornady's, the ballistic tip, the red one, with 150 grain. So the reason why I've got 150 grain is because the kinetic energy I want dumped inside the animal. I want it to cause as much trouble. Remember, we are trophy hunting. We are not meat hunting. So all that kinetic energy dumps inside that animal. And for me, it does do a lot of meat damage. Trust me when I say this. 270 is a butcher's worst nightmare. But it dumps a lot of energy inside that animal. And that's what we want, because we want to be able to retrieve that animal as quickly as possible and as efficiently as possible. So I'm using my Sarko. I've been using the Hornadies now for a little over 7-8 years maybe, and I love them. I absolutely love them. I think they are a game changer. Very, very expensive, extremely expensive, but they do the job, and that's what we pay for. So I wouldn't take it out on culling springback anytime soon, but I promise you now, on hunting sable and kudu, red hartebeest, eland, all those big animals, it does its job. And then for my pup side of things, and we're getting to the end now. Like I said, guys, my gear bag, I can talk for hours on. I mean, I've got 3 boxes just with gear that I think I'm going to use out in the bush. I'd rather go over-prepared than under-prepared. So I've got 3 boxes that I can talk on, but these are the basic essentials that I think are very, very important. Last but not least, of course, my dogs have to be kitted out as best as possible. I have Kelly. She's a Yacht Terrier, a German Yacht Terrier. Mad as hell, batshit crazy, best hunting dog I've ever had. And then I've got Daisy, who is her pup. She is Callie crossed with an Australian shepherd dog. So now I've got brains and stupidity mixed. Callie, however, on the other hand, excuse me, guys, sorry about that. I've had a canvas vest made for her for when we hunt animals like warthogs, bushbuck, and that sort of stuff. Reason for that is she is mad. She is going to go for the kill. If there is any wounded animal out there, she will go for the kill and she will try and bring that animal down. What the canvas does is it prevents her from being stabbed. I had a Jack Russell a couple of years ago, and Patrick Dugan, if you're listening to this, you'll remember this story. I actually put him down the other day, so he was on my socials. Cody. He sets sail off, Pat hits the sable, perfect shot, goes down onto its haunches, and if we gave it enough time it would have died, but we needed to put in a follow-up shot. Anyway, my little Jack Russell got there before I did, and next minute the sable swings its head down and gaffs my Jack Russell through the harnesses that we use, and fortunately it didn't penetrate the dog, but it hooked the Jack Russell through, and yeah, my Jack Russell is the sable now is obviously starkled. Now my Jack Russell is on the head of the sable running down the plains, and we need to put another shot in. And so I said to Pat, I said, please be careful of my dog. But anyway, perfect shooting, dropped it, went down, and I realized something there and then, that the harnesses we were utilizing actually cause a lot more damage when animals go in to stab. Now, especially a bushbuck and Inyala that go down on its knees, and they'll actually fight you on its knees. It gives them that opportunity to actually split in between that harness. So I wanted to prevent that. So I had these harnesses custom made with canvas netting on them, just so that they didn't penetrate. They're a lot heavier, but they're breathable, so the dogs don't get hot. Then, on top of that, around their neck area, something that I think every professional hunter should have is a set of shock collars. Not necessarily to use the shock, but to track your dog. Excuse me, guys. I can't tell you guys how many times waterbuck, kudu on abundance, bushbuck, Inyala was a big one. Even a black impala sent us on a little bit of a wild goose chase. But if it wasn't for those tracking collars, I would have never retrieved those animals. You could hear your dog barking in the distance, but to actually relocate that dog while he's yapping and the commotion that's going on, it's a difficult situation. And there's thickets. Majority of the stuff go down in thick bush. Anyway, so I landed up doing a deal with the dog trip guys, Dog Trip Pathfinders. They've been absolutely exceptional. They're waterproof, sweat-proof. Their battery lives are incredible. I use one collar a day. The app is exceptional. It works wherever you are. You don't need cell phone reception. It's really a special unit. For Kelly, she's a smaller dog. I've gone for the Pathfinder Mini, and then on my bigger dogs, I've gone for just the standard Pathfinder. They've got interchangeable collars. The unit, if you have any issues, I had an issue last year, 2 years ago, sent it in to Bass Pro. They're in the store. They gave me a brand new unit, and they sent that one away for a claim. And I just thought the after sales service from Pathfinder was absolutely unbelievable. So yeah, for me, I think Pathfinder should be in every single professional hunter's gear bag. So guys, that's it. I will definitely like to deep dive into a lot more of the stuff I have, like my bow. We haven't even touched on that. Triggers, sights, arrows, whatever you want to call it. Gear that I use to clean my rifles. There's a whole bunch we can talk about. But for tonight, I think those are the essentials that I'll be definitely packing in on every safari. And yeah, I think every professional hunter should utilize something like that, equivalent to it, or those particular models. If you want to find out more, you know where to find me on any one of my social medias. And yeah, for me, it's a very exciting time, because in T-minus 2 days, I'll be out in the bush doing what I love. Once again, I want to take this opportunity to thank everyone that's followed me on this incredible journey. If you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button, turn on the notifications, and if you enjoyed this episode, drop a thumbs up. Every little bit helps, guys, and I can't thank you to everyone that has helped me along the way to getting to this point. It's been an incredible journey, and I'm forever grateful. But like always, if you are, happy hunting. Until then, stay safe, stay blessed, stay humble. We'll catch up with you guys soon.